Hello everyone. Let's start our lesson today. Today's lesson is about letters and emails. You've studied letters before, they're very easy, and letters and emails are the same. They're practically the same thing. There aren't a lot of differences between them. Let's start. Okay. If you remember, we have two types of letters, okay? Formal letters and informal letters. I hope you can remember that. A formal letter is a letter that you send for someone that you don't know, okay? Someone you don't even know, or someone who's older than you. Like, for example, if you're sending a letter to the school principal, it has to be a formal letter. But if you're sending a letter to your friend, then of course you're going to use an informal letter, of course, because you're sending it to someone you know, someone you're close to, okay? There can be a lot of purposes for like writing a letter, okay? It can be to persuade, to complain about something. You bought a product, for example, and you're not happy about it, so you write a letter to complain to the manager or to the manufacturer, the person who made this product. You can write a letter to require information. You need more information about a competition, for example, or anything else. You can write a letter to inform, to give someone information, or you can write a letter to invite someone to a party, for example, or anything else. So the purpose can be a number of things, depending on why you are writing this letter, okay? This is an example of a formal letter, and the purpose of this formal letter is to complain that the sender's daughter is being bullied despite previous complaints. Let's take a look at the letter. Okay, when you take a look at it, you're going to find that here I have an address, okay? And then I have the date, okay? Then I have another port, okay? Now, you're not required to write the address, so don't worry about it at all. It is not required by Cambridge for you to write the address, but you can find it in a reading text, so you should know, okay, that this part, okay, this highlighted blue part is the sender's address, the person who sent the letter, the person who wrote the letter. This is his address. It is written on the top right, okay? And then you write the date. The date, of course, is a must. Here I have Secretary of Education, okay? This is the position of the person. County Hall, Bywatershire, this is the address. The address of who? Of course, the address of the receiver, the person who's supposed to receive this letter, also known as the addressee. Addressee is the person who's supposed to get this letter, to receive the letter, okay? Again, you're not required to write the address, but you should know it because you may come across it in a reading text, okay? So here, this is the sender's address, and here, this is the receiver's address, okay? Since this is a formal letter, of course, I have to start by a formal greeting. What is meant by a greeting? This is it. Dear sir or madam. If I don't know the name of the person I'm writing to, for example, I can be writing to the manager of a company, and I don't know the name. So I'm going to say, dear sir or madam, because I'm not sure if the manager is a man or a woman. But if I'm writing to someone I know, then I can write the name. However, I should write a full name. For example, dear Mr. Sam Smith. Okay, so I'm going to use full names. I cannot use first names only, or dear Mr. Smith. You have to use full names. Don't forget that, because this is formal. Okay? What comes after that is the first paragraph. Okay? This is where you tell me the reason for writing the letter. Okay? You have to go straight to the point. Okay? Don't write a lot of meaningless things. Okay? You have to introduce the subject of the letter and give information immediately. Okay? Here, this part, I enclose copies of correspondence. Now, this is a very, very good example of formal language. Okay? As we said, this is a formal letter. So as we go on, we're going to find examples of formal language. I enclose copies means I have put or provided copies. Correspondence means letters. Okay? This means that this person has already sent a number of letters. Concerning what? Concerning that Mary, his daughter, continues to be bullied by a person called Jane Brown. So from the first paragraph, I get to know the purpose of this letter. Okay? This person is writing to complain that his daughter, Mary, is bullied by Jane Brown. As you can see, the sender got straight to the point. Okay? He said immediately what he wanted to talk about. What comes after that is the body paragraph. Okay? Here he discusses exactly what happened. Okay? And if you keep on reading, you're going to find other examples of formal language as well. If you see this yellow highlighted part, the response has been unsatisfactory. This is also another example of formal language. And if you pay attention, you're going to see that the sender has also used passive voice. If you remember, we use passive voice to make things formal. If you remember that, don't forget that. And since this is a formal letter, then of course I can use passive voice. Okay? When I say the response has been unsatisfactory, means that the action the school has taken is not good according to his point of view. Okay? Here it refers to the school. Here, please make a formal investigation into my complaint and issue a report. This is also another example of formal language. And he's discussing the problem fully. Okay? So he's not talking anything about anything. He's just addressing the matter directly. And this is what you should do in a letter. Address the matter directly. Okay? We shouldn't waste people's time. We should tell them immediately why we are writing and what is the problem. Okay? So here he's discussing the problem, and he wants the receiver to make a formal investigation into his complaint. Okay? At the end, you're going to find examples of connectives. Of course, I can use connectives. Okay? At the end, you're going to find what this person wants specifically. What he wants is, I would like to know how many other complaints of bullying there have been at this school. Okay? He wants an action. He wants the bullying to stop. Okay? And at the end, you have to thank the receiver for his attention, for taking some of his time, and you say this sentence. This sentence is usually put in every letter. I look forward to your response at the earliest opportunity. I look forward means I'm waiting for your response, for your letter, at the earliest chance. Okay? Now, I want you to pay attention to how he ended the letter. Yours faithfully, never mind the signature. You can find it in the reading text, but of course you're not required to do it. And then the name, yours faithfully. Now, if you remember the difference between faithfully and sincerely, when the name is known, look at this yellow part, the highlighted part. When the name is known, we can use yours sincerely. But here I don't know the name. If you remember, I wrote dear sir or madam, so I don't know the name. If I don't know the name, then I'm going to use yours faithfully. Okay? Okay. I want you to take a look here at the next page. This is the layout for a formal letter. How do I write a formal letter? Of course, I start by the sender's address. Okay, as I said, it is not a must. It is not a must. Okay, but you may come across it in a reading text, so you should know it. Okay, so the sender's address is written at the top right of the page. What comes after that is the date. Okay, here is the receiver's address. Okay, then you start by the greeting, dear sir or madam, or you can use the full name, which is, for example, dear Mr. Sam Smith. If you don't know the name, that's fine. You just use dear sir / madam. Okay. Now, when I write a formal letter, it is important that I do not use contractions. Of course, anything formal, I'm not going to use contractions, right? Okay, I'm going to use formal standard English. I'm not going to use slang. This means I'm not going to use spoken words. I'm going to keep my sentences precise and get straight to the point. Means I'm not going to blab. I'm not going to talk about unnecessary things. I'm going to get to the point immediately so that I don't waste the receiver's time, okay? If complaining, you have to be polite, okay? Why do I have to be polite? If you want the person to take action, you shouldn't really attack them. You have to ask for what you want in a polite manner, okay? And of course, you have to be focused and not to waffle on. Waffle on means blab or talk about unnecessary things. You should get straight to the point, okay? This is what you do in the body paragraphs, and at the end, you sum up your main points. You sum up, state that you look forward to a response to your letter. Of course, you want a response. You want to know the person's response to what you have said, whether if it's asking for information, or if it's a complaint, or if you're trying to persuade someone, okay? You thank them in advance for taking time to respond, for example. Then you end the letter. And I said, as this is a formal letter, you use either yours faithfully if the greeting is sir or madam. If I don't know the name of the person I am writing to, okay? And yours sincerely if the name is given. So if you know the name, you can write sincerely. But if you don't know the name of the person you're writing to, you use faithfully. Okay. Do you think the layout of an informal letter would be that different? No, not really. You're going to start by the address, as usual, the date, same, nothing changed, okay? And then dear. Now, in an informal letter, of course, I'm going to use the person's name because I only write informal letters to people I know, either a family member or a friend. So of course, I'm going to use the first name. It can be, for example, dear mom, okay? It can be dear Sally, dear John, dear Jack, or it can be a nickname, okay? Because you're writing to your friend, for example, okay? So in an informal letter, I can use contractions, of course. You may have more than 2 paragraphs in the body, okay? However, a letter should be like about 4 paragraphs, okay? It shouldn't be long. Letters should not be long, okay? Of course, it depends on what you're writing and who you're writing to. It is generally accepted that in informal letters, we use contracted forms. So we can use contractions in informal letters. We can use can't, haven't, and so on. You're going to also, you can use colloquial language. Now, what does that mean? It means spoken words, like spooky, okay? Chatty tone. You don't have to use formal language here. If you're talking to your friend or you're talking to your brother or your sister, then of course you don't need to use formal language, okay? You use the chatty tone. Punctuation can be less formal. This means I can use a lot of exclamation marks, of course, to show if I'm excited, if I'm happy, if I'm shocked, things like that, okay? In informal types of writing, we use exclamation marks, okay? The body paragraphs, of course, you discuss what you want to discuss, and you end your letter with best wishes, best regards, yours truly, with love, or anything else you want. It depends on the degree of intimacy. For example, if you're writing to a classmate, he's not your friend, he's a classmate. Okay, so you're not really friends, so you can use kind regards. But if I'm writing to my best friend, for example, if I'm writing to my best friend, I can use with love or best wishes, okay? Or anything else you want, okay? Okay, this is a recap of the things that you should include in a letter, okay? Letters should contain certain pieces of information in the correct order. The address of the sender, the date, the receiver's name. If I don't know the receiver's name, then I'm going to say, dear sir / madam. The letter itself, the information, okay? The correct ending, the closure, okay? If I don't know the name of the person, then I write sincerely or faithfully. Try to remember, okay? If you're writing to your friend, then you can easily write your first name. For example, lots of love, Ahmed, for example, okay? You don't need to sign, of course, you're not going to sign. You just write the first name if it's an informal letter, okay? Beginnings and endings of letter vary. Vary means they are different according to whom you are sending the letter. If you're, as we said, if you're writing to someone you do not know, I can say, dear sir, madam, or dear sir or madam. If I'm not sure if the manager, for example, is a man or a woman. If I'm not sure, then I'm going to say, dear sir / madam, or madam, okay? Yours truly, yours faithfully, plus your signature or the name. The signature is not a must, of course, as I've said. If you know the name of the person, you can write it like this. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Cockcroft, or Dear Mrs. Cockcroft. Don't forget the comma, okay? If you're writing an informal letter, okay, to your friend, for example, if you're writing to a brother and a sister, for example, Dear Paul and Julie, okay? You can end it in any way you want. Yours affectionately means that you love them, or yours forever, or best wishes, or best regards, and your first name, okay? Here in this page, we have different examples of phrases that you can use in a formal letter, okay? Like dear sir or madam, I'm writing to complain, I'm writing to inform you. As we said, we get straight to the point. We talk about what we want immediately, okay? This is very easy. There aren't any difficult words in it? Okay. What about emails? Emails are not that different from letters. They're practically the same. The difference is you send them electronically. Okay? A letter is written on a paper, but the email is not written on a paper. The email is sent electronically via mail. Okay? Concerning the writing itself, you're not going to find that there are differences. You're going to start, if you're writing, for example, to your friend, starting the email. If I'm writing a letter to an email to my friend, then I'm going to say, hi, James. Hi, father, or my dear father, dear John, hello, David. Or if it's a formal email, dear Mr., Mrs., and so on. So there isn't really a difference. Okay, you're going to find that the letters and emails are the same. Okay, opening statement or opening sentence. Okay, if I'm writing to my friend, for example, dear John, hi, how are you? How's life treating you means, how are you? How are you doing? Are you okay? How's life? Any news? Now, if you notice, if you look at these examples, any news or anything strange, okay, these are not complete sentences. These are kind of fragments. When can I use them? Can I use them in formal or informal letters, emails? Of course, I can use them in informal emails, okay? What are you up to these days means what are you doing these days? Are you playing? Are you having fun? Do you have a tournament coming? And so on. If I'm writing to give news, guess what? I just had a new baby brother, for example. Or I've got good news, my friend, I passed my exams. Or, unfortunately, I've got bad news, or anything else, depending on the reason you are writing this email. Okay, so as we said, they are the same. There practically is no difference. Okay, then you close. How can I close my email? Well, that's all for now. I would better get back to work. I better get back to studying. I must go now. My mom wants me to clean my room, for example. Looking forward to hearing from you or getting a response from you, for example. Take care, best of all the best, all my love, and the signature or the name, because you're not going to sign. Okay, so as we said, letters and emails are practically the same. Okay, however, an email is sent electronically. But when it comes to writing, you're going to find that they are almost the same. Okay, whether it is a formal one or an informal one. Okay, the same rules apply. Here is an example of an email. This is the email, the subject. If you have sent emails before, you're going to find that 2 plus the email and the subject, because the subject appears from the notifications. Okay, hi. And I have the greeting, hi, Marco. Now from this greeting, from this part, I can easily tell that this is an informal email. How do I know it's an email? From the way it looks. If this is a reading that came to me, if this is a reading text, then I can easily tell that it's an email, not a letter. Why? Because of this part, and because the email is written. So this is an email, an informal email, okay? Now, the purpose of this email is to introduce the sender, okay? The sender is introducing herself. Let's take a look at this email. Hi, Marco, nice to meet you. Now, the sentence should be, it's nice to meet you. But she didn't write that. She said, nice to meet you. This is a fragment. And I also have an exclamation mark. More evidence that this is an informal email. My name's Sarah, and I'm 15. I live in London with my mom, my little brother Alfie, and my dog Cookie. So she's introducing herself in the first paragraph. In the second paragraph, I live near my school, so I walk to school every day. So here she's talking about more details. She's giving more details about herself. I like school, and my favorite subjects are math and ICT. ICT, this is like a computer. I want to work with computers when I leave school. Okay, so she wants to work with computers. What about you? Now, this is an example of a rhetorical question. Okay, here I have another one. What subjects do you like at school? Last week we won a match and I scored a goal. Here I also have another example of exclamation mark. Okay, so she goes on to talk about herself, her life. Okay, she's introducing herself. And here at the end, write soon and tell me all about yourself, your family, and your friends. Best wishes, Sarah. So here I have best wishes. This is an informal closure, and I have only the first name. All the more evidence that this is an informal email. So a quick recap. This is an informal email, okay? I have first person pronouns. I have chatty language or fragments or colloquial language. Informal language in another way, fragments or incomplete sentences. I have rhetorical question, okay? So again, quick recap. Letters and emails are almost the same. A letter can be formal or informal, and so is the email. They can be formal or informal, okay? The difference is a letter is written on a paper, but the email is sent electronically, okay? Okay, grade 6, if you have any questions, write them in the chat, please. I'm waiting for your questions, grade 6. What is the purpose of the address? What do you mean, what's the purpose of the address? How would you send the letter if you don't know the address? The address is important to send the letter. Can you call someone without knowing their number? Can you visit someone without knowing their address? The address is important to make sure that it is going to be sent to the right person. How do you end the email? The email is ended. The email ends in the same way. If you're writing a formal email, then you're going to write yours sincerely or yours faithfully, and then write your full name. If it's an informal email, then you're going to write, for example, best wishes, Sarah. Okay? It depends on why you're writing this email. Akram, what is the purpose of the letter? The purpose of the letter varies according to why you are writing. It can be a complaint, to complain. It can be to persuade, to inform, to require information. It depends on the reason you are writing. It can be a number of purposes depending on why you are writing, okay? Farida Assam, what is colloquial language? As I said, colloquial language is chatty language, informal language, or spoken words, words that can be words that we use when we talk, but we don't write it. It's not formal. Taqi, in the exam, how will I write my name? You're not going to write your name, of course. You're going to use an English name. You can say Jack or John. Of course, you're not going to be using your real names. Myrna, can you say the features? What do you think are the features? You're going to find the address, If it's a formal, you're going to find formal letter, formal greeting, formal closure. If it's an informal letter, then it's going to be informal greeting, informal closure, okay? Chatty language, and so on. Rinad, this is a sheet that is going to be posted as soon as this lesson ends. Malak, in the email, shall I write the person's email in the beginning? It's not a must, but you can do that if you want. It's not a must at all. Perihan, are we going to receive these papers? These papers are going to be posted. The sheet is going to be posted on the Facebook page as usual. So you have nothing to worry about. Adam Karim, do we have to write the email address in the exam? No, you don't have to write the email address in the exam. Taqi, will I write a fake name? Yes, you're not going to write, for example, Taqi. You can write John or Jack or Sam, any other name. Izzeddin, is the email formal or informal? The email can be formal or informal. It depends on why you are writing and who you are writing to. Tala, can he tell us in the exam, write a letter or email? He can tell you anything, honey. Yet Fula, Miss, shall I write Marco 1, 2, 3, or I could write only Marco? As I said, it is not a must for you to write the email address. Okay, if you want to write it, that's fine. If you want to write it, that's fine. Okay, I have a person called PC. Please write your name because I really don't know who you are. Ending the email is just like the letter. Yes, it's just like the letter. Okay, I have Hannah. In this text, she didn't say the reason for writing the letter. She said it in an indirect way. She started by introducing herself, and at the end, she said that she wanted to hear more about the receiver. She wanted to hear more about Marco. Okay? Leanne, no, I did not log the meeting, but however, there are a few changes that happened to Zoom. We really can't control them. May Romi, what are the closing sentences of an email? They're just the same, honey, the same as the letter. Hope to hear from you soon, or I look forward to hearing, to receiving your response. It can be anything, depending on whether it is formal or informal. Okay, Yasin Hussam, it is a must to write address in the letter. No, I said it is not a must. As I said, you do not have to write the address. Okay? It is not a must. If you want to write it, that's fine. If you don't want to write it, that's also fine. However, you can find it in the reading text. Okay, Farida, some opening sentences for formal emails, for formal letters. What do you think that would be? That's easy. Opening sentences. I'm writing this letter to inform you about, or I'm writing this letter to complain about my visit, or I'm writing this letter to complain about a product. Okay, you get straight to the point, honey. Now, PC, ending the email is just like the letter. Yes, it is just like the letter. Okay, Farouk, again, you don't rewrite the subject or the email. It is not a must. It's okay. What is the minimum number of paragraphs? Omar asks. 4. 4 is ideal. Okay, you shouldn't be writing more or less than 4. 4 is ideal. Okay. Okay, Adam, I need to know what is it that you don't understand specifically, because I don't understand your question. Iyad, again, about the number of paragraphs, 4 is ideal. Okay. Okay, PC, I'm going to unmute you now so you can ask your question.
Yes, Miss. My name is Amr. Sorry that there's a problem in my computer, so it's named PC. The question is there any new news about the exams?
Okay.
If there is any news about the exams?
Okay, I heard you. Okay, concerning the exams, as soon as more details, as we have more details, they're going to be posted on the Facebook page, okay? As soon as we have more details concerning the exams, they're going to be posted on the Facebook page, okay? Don't worry about it. You do not need to worry about your exams now, okay? Okay, grade 6, we're running out of time. Akram asks if we need to write the receiver's address. Honey, we've already said that. You do not need to write the address. If you want to, that's fine. But if you don't want to, that's also fine. It is not a must. Should we introduce ourselves? It depends on the reason for writing. Maybe you're writing to someone you already know. If you're writing to someone you already know, then you don't need to introduce yourself. Here in this email, this is a person who's they haven't met before. This is why she's introducing herself, okay? This is like pen friends. Is it a must to write the whole name in the first and second name? If it's formal, you write the full name. If it's informal, then of course you only write the first name. Honey, Aya, I've already told you the difference, okay? The email is sent electronically, but the letter is written on a paper. So you really don't need to, there aren't that the differences, okay? Okay, Iyad Muzaig, I just unmuted you. Please ask your question, come on. Come on, ask your question. We're running out of time.
Miss,
Yes.
Miss, what email should we write?
I didn't tell you to write an email. I'm just explaining the topic, okay?
It's not a must, yeah.
Honey, they are the same. A letter is the same as the email, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, grade 6, any more questions? Mirna Walid, in this text, Sarah doesn't know Marco and she's writing in an informal letter. Yes, they are children. They are trying to be friends. So she's introducing herself, okay? So it is informal. They're going to be friends. They're starting a friendship. So it's informal. This is why she's writing in an informal way, okay? Grade 6, do you have any questions? We only have 1 minute. What's your question, Norseen? You're welcome, honey. Okay, Norseen, I just unmuted you. Huh? Norseen, I'm waiting for your question.
Miss, does in the sheet that you'll send it in the Facebook have the features of this?
Honey, I already said them. Okay, I have already said them. If it's an informal letter, then it's going to be an informal greeting and an informal closure. If it's a formal, then it's going to be a formal greeting and a formal closure and formal language. Are they difficult? Norseen, are they difficult?
No.
Then write them down, honey. Any other questions? You're welcome, Aya. Any other questions, grade 6? You're welcome, Tala. You're welcome, Norseen. You're welcome, Shahd. You're welcome, Az and Iyad and Dalia. Yes, please. I have this request. Please, grade 6, only write questions in the chat. Okay? Yes, thank you, Aya. Only write questions so that the teacher doesn't get confused. Okay? I'm still waiting for any questions. Any more questions, grade 6? Okay, you're welcome, Myrna. Okay, if that's all, I'm going to end the meeting now. Thank you all. It was good to hear you today. Okay, goodbye and be safe, everyone.